Hi, good evening, everyone. Okay, wait lang ha. Hinahanap ko. I'm looking for, yan. Okay, better. Again, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Alpha TV webinar session brought to you by Aslex PH Academy, making you hashtag significantly better. Now, how are you doing? I know that supposedly the lockdown will be lifted a matter of few days from now, supposedly, but because of the things that are happening in relation to the COVID-19 crisis that we have, so it has been extended. So let's just look on the brighter side that this particular challenge we are facing right now will soon pass, and let's maximize the time that we have to learn new things. And for tonight, we are having another free session. And this one is entitled Best Practices in Writing a Research Paper. Now, I myself will actually benefit from this because I'm enrolled in the master's program and I'm in the process of preparing my research proposal. Okay? So just like any other person in this particular session, you might be on the same scenario that you're writing your proposal or for your undergraduate study or maybe for your master's or maybe for your PhD. So for tonight, we ensured because this one is actually a long long overdue session with this very credible speaker that we have. Now let me introduce you briefly our resource speaker for tonight. He is a professional industrial engineer and ASEAN Engineer. He had his bachelor's degree in industrial engineering from De La Salle University, Das Marinas. He had his master's in engineering, major in industrial engineering from Adamson University. He also acquired a diploma in business administration from De La Salle University, Das Marinas. And he acquired his Doctor of Philosophy in Engineering Management and Technology from Nueva Ecija University of Science. Wait lang ha, for a while. Because we're live, there are some technical difficulties. Okay. And he is currently the Dean of College of Engineering of University of Perpetual Health System, Dauta, Calamba campus. And from 2005 to 2010, he worked in different manufacturing industries such as ceramics and electronics manufacturing company. From 2011 up to the present, he is strongly involved in academic development and innovation of engineering programs through outcome-based education transition. He is strongly committed to animate engineering education through engineering research for students' welfare, development, and global opportunities. A good friend, one of my life mentor. Let's all welcome Dr. Philip P. Ermita, PIE, ASEAN Engineer. So, Dean Philip, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Um, Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank um, Sir Felix for inviting me here to give you guys some inputs on or practices in writing a research paper. Okay. Um, Actually, this session is last sem pa, kaya lang because of my different commitments, medyo naputol. So ngayon medyo we have the marami tayong time to do these things, and at the same time maximizing this ECQ period is a very timely, especially those for students with um, um, nasa bahay lang and starting to do their research. Okay, let me just maximize this. Okay, so hopefully you can see my slide now. Uh, okay, so actually, guys, uh, in reality, doing research is really difficult. But you know, it's all about the attitude of a person on how he or she can finish this task. No, when I was still an undergraduate student, then masters, then I finished my PhD. Sinabi ko noon na parang ayoko na mag-masters. Pero nag-masters ako. When I finished my masters, ayoko na mag-PhD. Pero tinapos ko pa yung PhD ko. Uh, Quite enough, I finished my PhD around 3.5 years. And it's all about the attitude and commitment. Okay? So, just to help you, our topic today is the best practices in writing a research paper. So, first, naniniwala ako, I strongly believe that the hardest part of doing a research is choosing a topic. You know, with the kind of technology that we have now, I still remember the time, hindi ako makakagawa ng research if I don't go to the library. Um, wala, I can't do research because I don't have a laptop. I don't have a computer, I mean. No? So, that's the basic thing. But nowadays, you guys we are lucky enough that we are now in the era of this the technology that we have. So, what is our favorite subject of the topic or the interest that we like? You know, it may vary if your field of interest is related to your bachelor itself or to your field of specialization, like if you're from engineering, if you're from social science, no, if you are from allied health, it depends on you. But most important is that you really like the topic that you want. you know um there's always a saying that when you do a research, and I strongly believe this with this saying, that when you do a research, it doesn't mean na, oy, sorry, hindi mo to maiintindihan because you're not an engineer or you're not an engineering student or you are not a allied health. No, when you do a research, it should be clearly understood by everyone. No, it may vary depending on the technicalities, but seems a good research is the thing that a big impact and easier to understand. Okay, no, it is already given that when you choose a topic, dapat daw it should be smart, no, specific, measurable. I think everyone knows that. But paano? How can we choose that that is a smart topic? You know, um, I have here a simple tips like, so for example, we can start by forming a question itself. Question in a sense that will trigger your interest. You know, bakit kaya no, bakit kaya nahihirapan ang isang tao? What are the things that I can do? I can thoroughly analyze so that for me, my research will be have a bigger impact, no? Specifically for engineering. Hopefully, maraming from engineers here, engineering students here, or in the field of engineering. Okay, and then when the time that you have already a form of questions, you know, manganganak at manganganak yan, and that is one of the tool we in for IEs we have this YY analysis, you know, and sometimes forming a questions will lead you to come up with cause and effect diagram. What are the causes, no? And you keep on asking questions. And when you keep on asking questions, you are actually doing a research already. And that is a good sign because it will trigger you to deepen and test your the findings that you want to know. Okay. And then when you try to come up with the questions, you know, the next tip is that you are now going to consider your audience or target readers. You know, because when you try to ask questions, you would also like to deepen your readings. You know, guys, when somebody asks me, Dr. Ermita, Dean Ermita, how can I continue or write down a research? Like I always say, for you to be successful in doing a research, you have to read and read and read and write and write and write. You know, that's the secret actually. You know, because the only way for you to deepen and make a bigger impact of your research, dapat strongly uh, found funded ka with your literature review, because the literature review will be your framework that will help you. Okay, and the third one is you also need to consider the originality, context, and how are you going to execute that. You know, ito kasi kung mapapansin nyo, itong sometimes ayaw ng mga undergraduate students, and sometimes it is difficult, it's because of for you to find readings. You know, later on I'll show with you how to find those readings para maging strong with, and you can find the originality and context, and how can you execute that research. And sometimes, guys, when you try to ask questions, try to look for that specific word, no, that you want to search, or the specific word of your question that will lead you to find the literature review. sometimes, for example, you want to look for um, you want to look for pr- uh, production management research, no? And then yung pala ang gusto mo is line balancing. So sometimes search ka ng search ng production management. Well, in fact, hindi yan ang specific topic mo kaya hindi lumalabas sa search mo. When you try to Google it in Google Scholar or any related journals. And sometimes hindi nakikita ng mga estudyante that you have to search for the journal itself kasi sometimes free po yun, masa-search mo, and you can even the download the file, no? And then when you choose a topic also, I'm considering on my fourth is you consider your strength. When you try to consider your strength, try to consider your field of interest. Excuse me, field of interest, and you know you have this access to get the data, or you have these people who can help you with the validation or even the testing. Sometimes you also need to consider your resources and accessibility in that particular area, no? So dapat yon, kasi hindi yung pagdating sa dulo mahihirapan ka because you don't your access is really limited to that particular topic. Okay, and of course you need to follow your interest simultaneously with your strength. Okay? Pag sinabing interest, ito talaga yung gusto ko. Ito yung hilig ko. No? Sometimes in the field of engineering, nagiging multidisciplinary ang pagdating ng thesis. No? Sometimes, if you're from IE, pwede may halo yan na pang other engineering field. No? That's why what I did with the College of Engineering, the thesis is we are what we call this collaborative research. So ibig sabihin, pwede mag-merge ang IE and ME as thesis. Pwede mag-merge ang EE, ECE in one topic. No? So para mas broaden yung output. Okay? Because that is the interest of the researcher, and that is very important kasi pag interest mo talaga, lagi nga sinasabi, pag gusto, may paraan. Pag ayaw, maraming dahilan. Pero pag gusto, gagawin at gagawin yan because hilig niya yan. And he want to contribute something on that specific field of research. Okay? Best practices na pwede kong, with my experience, that laging sinasabi, you have to do a literature review, no? Minsan sa sobrang basa mo kasi, no? When you read a lot, sometimes you cannot combine the ideas. The best thing to do that you can combine is to write it down, no? Historically. No? So when you combine ideas that will tackle an old issue in a way, is that every day ako, pag lagi akong tinatanong, Dino, how were you able to finish your PhD despite of your busy schedule? Everything I read every day, I type it, no? Tinatabular ko yan. For example, I start from 2010. Here's the findings, here's the methodology, here's the concept, this is the output, no? And sometimes, guys, when I try to download that di ba, when you try to Google, when you try to read the journal, may email doon. Help. I don't know if everyone here had tried to email the author. If doon sa mga research ko, and pag ini-email ako, it's akala niyo nahihiya kayo, pero for them, it's really fulfilling that somebody is trying their best or is reaching out because of the interest of his or her research. Guys, minsan nagbibigay pa sila ng tips. and you can be able to identify yung recommendation, which we can consider that as the research gap. And that is very important in doing a research. Dapat may continuity ka with the previous research. No? Which is in number 2, magmamatch yung ano natin, yung from the first one, because you can see that when you try to combine ideas, you can now be able to identify the holes or the opportunity, which is technically, we can see that in under the recommendation of the researcher or researchers. Okay, and once you can now be able to identify the recommendation, sometimes you need to be creative. Sometimes the methodology that uh, done previously, you can combine it. So dito papasok yung creativity mo, paano mo i-innovate yung previous idea, which is that may address the need of the current situation right now, no? And that is very important na sometimes the idea is not applicable in India but not in the Philippines. And sometimes yung loophole niya doon may not be a loophole in the current situation. So you really have to equip yourself with a lot of ideas coming from the previous research. Okay? And then the fourth one is, before you commit to an idea, you have to put it to the test. So that means, guys, if you have this idea and then you are surrounded with the literature review, there are several tests or there are several methodologies. There are already several researchers who had already tried to do that research that you want. That will give you more ideas on how are you going to test it. No? And that is very important, specifically for engineering research. Validation or the test is really important. Okay. And of course, you need to create a swipe file that includes the list of the keywords. No, so what I'm referring here is that yung mga keywords na nisa-search nyo with the Google Scholar, try to note that, specifically the methodology. No, yun yung dapat i-note nyo. Minsan may word na information overload. No, marami ka nang binasa, mahirap i-combine. No? So, paano daw natin siya matatandaan? All you have to do is to write it down with the year, the author, the methodology, the output, and the recommendation. Or even sabihin natin, what are the variables it was used kung if your topic is really specific. No? So, ganyan ang technique. And sometimes, if you are, minsan madali sabihin to, no? Pero when I did my PhD, it took me 2 months, I can say. It took me 2 months, no? And isa yan sa mga problema ng mga estudyante, nagka-cram. And you cannot really do a research within 2 to 3 nights. Ako, it took me, I can say, 1 month reading lang. No? I read a lot. And then the following month, I started to write. And, excuse me, there are times that when I do my research, pagod na ako kasi in the office, I cannot do my research. The technique that what I did is that I really allotted time for me to complete my research. What do I mean? Every day, I really allot time to do my dissertation or to do a research. For example, Monday to Sunday, I have this practice that I need to read, I need to read 2 hours, or I need to allot 2 hours every day. No? So, ang practice ko, I do it 10 p.m. to 12. Ginawa ko yun 10 to 12. Why? Because I have twin kids. No? They are 5 years old. Hindi ako maka-open ng laptop ko in front of them kasi lalaruin lang yung laptop ko and they want to play with me. So that's the challenge. So every day I try to read, no? Pagka read ko sa isang journal, ilalagay ko siya sa folder ko na related, not so much related. And then pag binasa ko yon, yung journal, hindi ko maiintindihan yon right away. I have to read that journal 3 times. And then ninonote ko doon sa Excel file ko what are the findings significant. Yun, para hindi ko siya makalimutan. And other tip po is like may mga times na wala tayo sa mood magsulat, you know. Minsan in my work, some of you here have already working. Pag uwi mo, pagod ka na, no? Tapos magsusulat ka pa, no? Umabot ako sa point na if I'm already tired, but I have to write. I do it in a naka-bullet type siya, and then the following day, ipaparagraph ko siya mas mabilis kasi yung nabasa ko naka-tabular o naka-bullet pala, tapos para guided ko siya. Kasi there are times already wherein when I try to write in the office, pagdating ko sa bahay, bakit ganito ang sulat ko? Nonsense. Ulit ng ulit ako. So sabi ko, I think I'm in the wrong way. I'd rather type in a bullet, tapos pagdating sa bahay, I'm writing it down. Hanggang sa umabot ako on my second month, my time now is increasing like 10 to 2, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So that means may commitment ako every day that I have to visit that file, or I have to visit my laptop every day and read that Word file na kailangan madagdagan ko siya. Not necessarily masulatan ako pero may nadadagdag akong idea because the thought should be chronological. Specifically when you write down your literature review, no? Because when you do the literature review, after nun yung proposal defense, hindi ka kasi makakapag-proposal defense na wala kang strong ang literature review mo. And that's the technique. Every day you really have to read and read and then write and write and write. Okay? So I'm giving you guys ample time. So actually I'm given an hour, but I'm giving you opportunity to ask questions. Okay. Just to share with you here, guys, that sometimes ang bata, or even the students, tumitigil pag walang makita sa Google Scholar. No? Sometimes you have to search for the specific journal that you want. No, for example, you try to search for ito kasi for IE. You can also search for engineering management. Wherein, for example, itong nandito is the Neo's lifting equation. Actually, this is from also my student in with Dean Poyi of Binyan. Madadownload mo yung buong buong study by not sometimes hindi kasi lalabas sa Google Scholar. So just I'm giving an example because I'm also an editor or reviewer of that particular journal, International Journal of Engineering Management. Okay, next is I would like also to share. You can browse that in the future. You can also search this engineering management journal. It may vary depending on the topic, no? Hindi ko lang specific dito for a lot of other fields like the allied health, criminology, psych. You can also search on this. Just look for the journal, no? And sometimes po pag dito direct sa mga journals na to, the researchers are very responsive. So If you are confused with the data, you need more data and explanation. Try to email. No, try to email the authors. And kadalasan ini-email po ang authors is for engineering is for the validation. Paano niya validate? Paano niya tinest na very effective siya? So what are the measures? What are the variables? So those are the things that you can consider in the future. Okay. I also have here some quality function deployment. So that is under the production system operations planning and control, wherein you can download the file. No? Sa mga advisory ko, thesis advisory ko, because I have in Calamba, I have in Binyan, I have in Letran. No? So, yan ang lagi kong binibigyan nito. You really have to read a lot, guys. Also a tip, pag advisory ko, ang lagi kong sinasabi, please, hindi naman ako galit, please don't come to me if you don't have a reading. No? Kasi doon ko palang nahuhuli ang bata pag strong na ang literature review niya. No? For example, sir, may naisip po ako ganito, and then, okay, have you tried to read? Sir, meron na po akong nabasa, year 2010, ginawa nilang ganito. Tapos sir, meron po in 2011. So doon makikita mo pala ang bata, the student itself is very confident with this topic because he or she is supported with the literature review. Tandaan nyo yun, lalo na sa mga years. And of course, guys, please consider that doing a research is also a way leading you to be your specialization in the future. So that's very important. And other is, these are also the IJRT. This is actually, I have also a publication here, the International Journal of Research and Technology and Engineering. No? So marami, when you try to browse on that, may mga editions sila that you can actually download the PDF file, the full paper on that. No, you can search on the https www.ijrt.org. Okay, and actually the IJRT is a Scopus Index publication. Okay, and then I also hear some of the Elsevier, no, Journal of Engineering Management. By the way, guys, I have also tried na minsan hindi po free yung file, no? So, sir, may bayad eh. But eto, tingnan nyo, minsan makikita dyan who are the authors. Tapos try nyo to search for the other research na nandoon yung email niya and try to email him regarding his or her paper with the author. Minsan, na-try ko na in-email sa akin ng buo yung paper niya. You know, just be polite and humble enough that you are interested with you are currently doing with this, and you are inspired with the findings. You would like to fall into detail. Ini-email niya mismo yung full paper niya. So that's one of the technique, guys. Na minsan hindi ginagawa ng student. No? Okay. And then also, I have here, so my last word is that sometimes thesis is kinakatakutan, ayaw, kinakatamaran ng students. Because, well, I've been there, talaga nakakapagod. Pero, yun nga, it's all about discipline and the attitude of a person if he or she would like to finish that course. You know? And nung dati ganun din ako, pero when I realized that I can make a difference in my career, because of research, I was able to travel a lot. No? I've been to India several times, to Singapore, to Indonesia, to Thailand. Marami ako nampuntahan because that is of research, and that is the character that made it. So thesis, just for my last words, is a true happiness ended since it started. So when you find it happy, just do it, because I know it's not just about the diploma that you want to achieve, but it's all about the field that you want to contribute in the community. No? Yun lang po. Hopefully, with this short webinar, I was able to help you guys with some tips on how are you going to complete your research. And if you have questions, I have here my email address, and I can still answer your after this, after my talk. That's all. Thank you very much. And if you have questions, feel free, please. Thank you.
Okay,
Sir
so once
Felix,
again,
maybe if they have questions, if you have questions, feel free, please. I hope you guys learn.
you can
Di ko
unmute also
sinasabing
other
marami kayo
persons.
natutunan, pero yeah. If you have questions, guys, feel free. Dami pala natin. How many participants do we have, Sir Felix?
Hi, sir. Hi, Dean Philip. Thank you for that amazing talk about the best practices
Uh,
on writing your research paper. Actually, that's the
yeah.
thing na natutunan ko din from my masters. Read, read, read. Kasi you cannot write anything about yung research without any reading. Not just reading, but in-depth reading, advanced reading.
Yes.
Kasi hindi siya yung,
Yes.
it's not like you're putting your opinion on that particular topic that you want eh.
Yes.
It's really more of the scientific side of it. What has been parang what has been validated by other researchers before you take on the topic. So yun yung talagang naging key takeaway ko din from you and from my mentors and advisors from my master's program. To answer your question, we're at 96 now. The registered participants, I think, is
Wow.
around 120. There are some people who can't even enter the room because of the volume. Because we have limit inside this room, we can
Mm.
only cater 100 because of the platform that we're using. But at any rate, Dean Philip here is now open for questions. On my time, it's 8:35. So basically, if 1 hour will be followed, we still have around 20 minutes to answer the questions. May question lang dito, Sir Dean Philip, sa chat box. So let me read it for you.
Yes, sir.
This one is from Luigi Badillo. Quote unquote, follow interest. While considering my strengths, what if ang interest po ng researcher is to focus on his weakness? Example, weakness po ang accounting, tapos ang topic po na gusto ay pag-create ng isang online financing system. Should I pursue or give up on this? Yun po yung question ni Luigi Dean.
Yeah. You know, for me, that aspect is that that is actually titingnan ko under perspective na may strength ka, you have this strength that you want to tackle your weakness. So that means that is your perspective. For me, that is a good way, because you know, you are technically, you are at the stage that you really want to expand what you know. You know, for example, if you know only one, you know also your the part of weakness, which is also your field, you want to explore field number two, you know, and that's a good attitude, you know. If you are already, guys, on the level of uh, in reality, you are we are all directed to be a specialist, eh, 'di ba? Lalo pag yung mga younger people, for example, pagdating mo sa work, for example, you started as a planner, no? Then nag 5 years ka, let's say sabihin na 3 to 5 years. Tapos lilipat ka. Lilipat ka ng company, ang a-applyan mo, let's say technical engineer ka. Do you think that is credited? Of course, hindi ka masyadong matatanggap doon because you have your experience is beyond that. Hindi doon sa linya na may experience ka. So, i-relate ko lang sa research. So, sa research kasi, like I mentioned a while ago, the research is really leading you to be your specialization. Okay? So, mas maganda pag specialist ka dito, no? Mas broaden yung ano mo, yung topic mo, mas malalim, as mas bigger impact. A very good example, guys, na if that is thesis is really building a specialization. When you finish your BS degree or undergraduate research, you can actually continue that topic to your master's. Yun lang, mas bigger and scope. And you know, kung talagang hilig mo yan, you go to your PhD, mas laliman mo, mas you create a framework, you create a model, yan talaga ang forte mo. Nire-relate ko lang sa ganun kasi para kang it's quite difficult pero maganda maraming nalaman. Pero kung magandang doon ka sa strength mo talaga na which is your specialization, mas maganda and mas madali sa yung magsulat, no? And yan sinasabi kong when you choose a topic, it's really smart. Dapat time-bounded ka. Doon ako sa mas marami akong alam. But, well, if you are not time-bounded, you want another learning, wala namang problema. Yun lang po. Hopefully, I was able to answer your question in a practical way. Okay?
Thank you Dean for that answer. If I may add lang po, kasi parang Luigi here, he has this weakness maybe on accounting, but yung research kasi wants to create an online financing system. Maybe Luigi here is inclined sa pag-develop ng mga programs or software applications. So hindi necessarily yung weakness niya dun sa accounting yung inaano niya yung parang ina-address niya. But rather, may strength pa rin siya na pwedeng gamitin to parang to complement or supplement yung particular weakness na posible niya pe-perceive niya. Yun lang yung yung 2 cents ko doon. Ayan po. Thank you po Dean Philip for that. Another question coming from us sa amin kasi nakapangalan sa amin kay Sir Jojo to galing. Dr. Philip, does a researcher consider always output for a certain business?
Consider always of output. As a researcher, consider always output of. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by output kaya?
From Richard Deliosa pala, hindi po pala galing sa amin. Sige, i-park muna natin kasi mukhang kailangan pang i-validate yung question. But we're gonna park it and we're going back to that later on. So this one naman din is from Christian Ibanez. Paano po pala yung process on how to send a research paper to a research conference? Thank you.
Okay. Yung mga estudyante ko dyan, batak na batak dyan. So, conference. You know, to attend a conference kasi, there is always mga call for paper. So, meron dyan international conference on industrial engineering, international conference on ganito, robotics, no? Ang suggest ko dyan, guys, marami kasing multidisciplinary research conference ngayon, no? Ako nung naranasan ko mag-best paper sa IE conference, mas nakita ko mas masarap pala mag-best paper sa Korea, yung inattenda namin, that was 2016 International Conference on Industrial Engineering, no? So puro pang IE research, doon kami nag-best paper. So mas masarap ang feeling. So what you do is that there's a call, may mga call yan, and then the template, just follow their template. no? Yung paano minsan naka 2 columns, minsan 1 whole paper, limit the paper to 10 pages. So you just follow the format and submit it to them. Kadalasan ngayon may mga database sila. And wait for the, normally abstract muna guys. Normally abstract. Pag pumasa yung abstract, they will advise you to submit the full paper. Imagine mo yung thesis mo or research mo na more than 100 pages or 60 to 70 pages, i-compress mo into a 7 to 10 pages. Ganun po. And then, may registration fee yan. And then you submit the paper, pay the registration fee and attend the conference. And that's it. Tapos expect some questions from the audience. No? And that's it.
Okay, so thank you, Dean, for answering that question. So, just to wrap it, yung process is actually finding for papers, tapos papasok mo yung paper based on their template,
Requirements.
tapos papasok there will be a time that it will be peer reviewed, minsan double blind, ganyan. So may mga process, i-review
Yes.
yon, then there will be comments, you have to, your paper, right, whether for editing lang or for accepted or hindi siya accepted. Tapos you have to, yun nga, register for the conference, you have to go there, tapos you have to present it. And then yun na, pag okay na siya, may 2-3 months para ma-publish yung paper kung yun ay merong proceedings na magkakameron
No.
ng publishing. So yun yung parang process ng na sinabi ni Dean Philip. So thank you, Dean Philip, for that. There's a question here from Alan Garin. Do you have recommended age of the related literature or studies? Can we reference papers as far back as from 10 years ago? Yun po yung question.
Okay. Actually, that is a very good question. Um, for your research to make it unique and with a bigger impact, dapat your literature review, ideally guys, not more than 5 years. That is the trend. That is the trend. Not more than 5 years. With tawag dito yung mga bakit? Sige, bakit? Kasi po yung the technology that we have now, and please consider na hindi lang ikaw ang possible na nagre-research ng field na yan. O nagre-research niyan. So kaya mas maganda below kasi yung balay mo, yung idea mo ngayon nagawa na last year, no? Or nagawa na. That's why laging sa mga panelists, I always look for that is the reason. However, there are cases na, sir, what if wala po nagre-research sa topic na yan? That is possible. Talagang kailangan mo na limited, no? And you know what, guys? Just to share with you, ako unti-unti ko na ring nagiging ganon. Yung professor ko dati sa Lasal, Manila, kilala niya ng lahat ng author sa field na to, no? I don't know if kilala niyo si Dr. Chu. Si Dr. Chu is a mentor. You know, Dr. Anthony Chu. Pag sinabing, for example, tawag doon, yung environmental industrial ecology, kilala niya sa buong mundo kung sino yung mga author na yon. Hindi mo siya maloloko. Sabi niya, do you know this? This is a friend of mine. Papakita pa sa niya nung nag-approach ako sa kanya dati, pinakita pa niya yung picture. Parang 20 sila sa buong mundo, yan yung specialization. So, pag maka-encounter kayo ng prof na ganon, kaya alam niya kung recent yan or hindi. So, just to share with you. Kaya, just to answer the question, limit it to 5 years, guys. Mas better, appropriate. Any more questions?
Yes, Dean, we have a couple of questions
Yes.
pa. So, 5,
Sige po, no
5,
problem.
5 years, tama. Ganun din yung sa masters namin, 5 years. Tapos, another topic here, this is particularly for students. This is from Lucille Dormito. Sir, how about sa pagpili po ng topics during thesis? Pag groupings po, meron pong iba't ibang interest ang kada members. Paano po namin malalaman na yun yung magandang topic?
Okay. Lagi kong ina-advise yan, daming magagaling, daming gusto, yung 3 members, yung member 1, gusto ko ito, gusto ko ito. Actually, you can do, advice ko dyan, you do a rubric for selection of a topic. No, for example, ito ang topic ko. How about yung ano niyan? Scoring. Lagyan natin ng scoring. About time. Matagal ba to gawin? Mas mapapadali? Alam ko pag undergraduate, groupings yan eh. Doon ako sa mapapadali kasi take note, 1 year lang yan. Tama? How about for the cost? I-rate nyo. Pwede nyo, 1 is the lowest, 5 is the highest. No. So, i-rate nyo 5. Ito, less ang cost. 2, ganun. Hanggang sa i-total nyo, eto tayo. That's the best. Itong pinaka, tawag dito, it's either pinaka maliit ang score, that means ito dapat sa atin. Something like that. So, yung groupings nag-decide based on the scoring. So, namili pa rin kayo objectively. No? Hindi doon sa pabor lang sa isa. Hope you got my point, guys. May scoring. Yan. That's an IE tool actually. Okay.
Yep. Prioritization matrix, so score.
Yes.
We in Lean Six Sigma we use the SMART. Is it specific? Gano'n ka specific? 1 to 5?
Bumalik ang sardinas.
Pakipatay po ng microphone gawa ng sardinas. Apo. Bawal po mag-promote ng product. Pakipatay po ng microphone ng ano. Ayan, sige po. Let me read na lang your questions for Dean. Sige. Dean, ito po. Isang magandang question to coming from someone na mukhang bago to sa research. This is from Alexandra. Sir, is it necessary po ba na every time na magka-copy ka ng sentence for the research from other resources, ay present po lagi ang reference sa end ng sentence?
Okay, that's another very good question. You know, sa panahon kasi ngayon, we are now very particular on plagiarism. No? And in Turnitin or the plagiarism check for publication, I think the minimum acceptable is 10%. And I don't know if any one of you are familiar with the Turnitin. So Turnitin kasi guys, pag yung paper mo, niran mo doon, i-upload mo, pagbalik doon, may mga comment yon. Itong paragraph na to galing sa www. ganyan. Ito galing sa www. ganyan. So to minimize that, you really have to cite the author, no? And you have to paraphrase it. Hindi kailangan copy paste, no? And kadalasan nakikita ko diyan, yung PDF pinis sa Word, hindi siya ma-justify, ma-align, no? Justify alignment. So, para hindi maiwasan yon, kailangan magkaroon tayo ng citation. So, yung citation format, there's a lot of format. May MPA, APA. So, recently ngayon, in the CHED policy, we are recommended to follow the APA format citation. So, for example, pwede mong, according to Ermita 2015, so sinasite mo yung idea niya. So, hindi mo pwedeng angkinin yung idea niya. If that specifically, if that is a published research or that is open to the public, you have to cite it para maiwas plagiarism. Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Agree. Bawal mag-plagiarize. Nung college kami, parang hindi ko pa yata naramdaman. Hindi pa uso noon.
Wala pang Turnitin. Wala pang Turnitin.
Hindi pa uso noon. Yan, mas magandang aware tayo para iwas bagan siya. Anyway, this is then another question.
Yes, pa.
We're down to the last 10 minutes, so maybe 2 or 3 questions more. This is from Ma'am Nina. Sir, what if the problem is that yung gusto mong topic ay ayaw naman ng advisor mo? Mas okay ba na sumunod na lang or i-push yung gusto at interest mo?
Ang tanong ko dyan, sometimes choosing the best advisor first, no? Sometimes you choose your advisor. Minsan, sir, wala kaming choice. It happens. Number one, kung if for yung option one muna, it's very critical that you choose the advisor na medyo or porte niya yung topic. And there are also advisor na ako lagi kong sinasabi yon. If you want me to be your advisor, that not necessarily I am totally expert on that. I am just here to guide you on how are you going to finish your study. No. What if I'm an advisor? Alam mo ang lagi kong technique, I don't know, nagawa ko ba yun nung masters ako na I think nagawa ko yun when I finished in Adamson. Ayaw din nung initial advisor ko, pero pinakita ko sa kanya na strong ang literature review ko. Paano mo naman sabing pwede yan? Laging tanong niya, hindi ata po pwede yan. Ma'am, tingnan mo to, sinamarize ko po. Nagsimula pa nung 2000, graduate ako 2012 eh. So, mga 2006, 8, 9, 10, may mga research na pong ginawa. Ganun ba? Pag nagawa mo siguro yan, wala nang masasabi ang advisor mo, kundi tulungan ka na. Yun lang yun. Okay.
Yan. So that's the tip from Doc Philip. This is a question, pero I think this is an overlapping question. Pero let me read this deed from Kenneth Dia or Kenneth Ja. Sir, possible po ba na yung main topic mo sa research ay galing sa thesis from past research, pero mas papalawakin mo ng mabuti yung old research? Thank you.
Yes, that is possible. For me, as a dean and as I've been a long time as a panel, accepted sa akin yan. Kaya nga merong recommendation and that is a research gap. Ang lagi ko lang sinasabi, kailangan din kasi guys, sometimes if you think, hindi ko sinasabing lahat ng panelist ganun mag-isip. Okay? Ako kasi mas malawak ang pag-unawa ko pagdating sa ganun. Kasi, for me, mas nakikita kong mas nag-iisip ang bata. No? Kasi ang lagi kong example dyan, guys, what makes a TV from black and white up to now, TV pa din. But look at the innovation. No? Dati, black and white. Ngayon, may mga curve. May mga smart. And that is because of continuous research. So, kung may nag-try na bata ganito, itatry niya, i-expand niya, i-improve niya, I appreciate that. Pero, kadalasan ang advice ko, kailangan mas laliman mo ang analysis and validation. That the test you conducted is higher level with the previous. Ganun po ako. On my part, to answer your question, I accept that. Pero kung gagayahin mo lang din yung testing niya na parang copycat, iba yun. Iba yun, guys. Okay?
Yes. Yeah, I agree also with yung looking at the recommendations. When I'm preparing for my proposal, capstone proposal, I always look into the part wherein there is the conclusion and recommendation, because they're recommending where particular fields can you still try to apply this particular concept or findings that they had on their research. Let's say this was applied in the area of maybe healthcare. Is this applicable to other service oriented na businesses or companies, parang ganon.
Yeah.
So you're not copying, but you're trying to explore it further. So tama naman 'yon. I agree with Dean regarding that. Sabi ni Sir Jojo dito, additional comment lang, your advisor is your first panelist. Pag mo-convince mo siya, mas mapapadali ang buhay.
Yes, totoo
Sana
yan.
all. Andiyan po, sana
Sana.
all.
Hugot?
Hindi po. Ako masaya ako ngayon sa aking
Hindi
capstone.
naman. Okay. That's
Sige.
nice.
Ito po, may
Good
isa
luck,
pang
sir.
thank you po. May isa pang pumasok na tanong from Ace. Natural lang po ba? Ay, gumalaw. Natural lang po ba na nagbabago ang research topic or focus mo lalo na you're doing your related lit? So in reference to siguro in the original research problem habang nagre-related lit daw po.
Yes, I agree with you. Uh, Kadalasan ginagawa ko sa mga students ko, during the title defense, it's okay na ito muna as you go along with the proposal hanggang sa nakikita mo yung um, direction, pwedeng mabago ang title. Title lang yan, guys. Ang pinaka-importante is the statement of the problem and objectives. Dapat hindi yan nagbabago. Kasi because that is your direction to finish the paper. Hindi yung babaguhin yung SOP, statement of the problem, dahil ito lang kakayanin ng bata. Wrong. So dapat, kung title, mababago yan. Pero the statement of the problem, of the objectives, dapat hindi yan na nagbabago. Because that is the guide for you to finish the paper. Ilan po?
Okay. So I hope nasagot yung question ni Ace with Dean Phillips input regarding that. So another question, last question maybe because it's already 8:58. From Eliza Sibulo. Sir, is it okay lang po ba na yung nakuha mong result sa isang research ay contradicting dun sa stated hypothesis or does not support yung stated hypothesis?
Yes, it may happen. Sometimes ang experience ko diyan, sometimes lalo na pag mga experimental, sometimes there are parameters or variables that you need to consider. And kadalasan pag mga social sciences research, it happens. This can be state mo lang under the conclusion and then under the recommendation. Maybe meron ka pang hindi na consider or you have to further validate your research. And kadalasan, hindi ito ini-encourage sa undergraduate research. Kailangan medyo magtugma doon sa target direction natin to complete with the paper. Pero sa mga regular research, guys, it may happen. It may happen. So just indicate that in your recommendation and limitation of the study. It happens. It happens. Yes. Yes, sir.
I guess thank you daw po, Doc. I guess that's the end of our session. We had a great night of learning about our research paper. As mentioned by Doc Philip, he will be able to entertain questions offline, meaning if you have questions, you might want to add Dean Philip or send a message to Dean Philip or send yung email. If we can share yung details ni Dean Philip, we will be sharing. Pero just ano lang naman, just moderate baka naman yung buong thesis i-send nyo at ipabasa nyo kay Dean Philip. Marami din pong ginagawa si Dean, kaya we're very thankful and grateful that he found time para sa atin for tonight. So Dean, maraming salamat po. So Dean Philip already dropped yung email on the chat box, so kindly capture that because it might be handy sa darating na mga research. Kung hindi pa kayo nagre-research, yan, if nagre-research na kayo, so at any phases na ginagawa yung research paper, that will come handy. Napakadali pong lapitan niya ni
you can PM me on Facebook. Anytime, guys.
Sa mga IE po, yan po tumulong para maging PIE ako sa akin. So, medyo personal ang aming relationship. So, yan. Maraming salamat po coming from all the session participants. Dean Philip agreed also that we will be issuing e-certificates with his signature. So maraming salamat
Yeah.
po, Dean Philip. We are very happy to have you. And for all the
Okay.
participants, please do wait for your certificates as we publish it. And the konting promotion lang po, pa-promote lang ng konti. We have an upcoming session for online yellow belt this starting May 9 to May 30. That will be a 4-week long fully online yellow belt program. So you might want to consider joining. And we also have our fully online green belt program, which will start April 25 to May 31 every Saturday and Sunday. That will be held 1 to 5 p.m. So yung mga interested po, all the details are in our Facebook page. And again, plug ko lang din, I'll be having my own session on Wednesday. So, graphical
Wow.
analysis using Minitab. So, attend din po tayo, sayang ang certificate. So, yun lang. Maraming salamat, guys. So, I hope
Thank
you
you,
enjoyed.
guys.
And again, thank you for Dean Philip time for us. So, maraming salamat and we'll be cutting this
Yeah.
broadcast now. Bye!
Stay skin.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye po. Bye po. Bili kayo ng sarap.
Bye-bye po!
Bye!